Welcome to an in-depth exploration of decision-making, a skill that not only shapes our lives, but also defines who we are. Whether you're making small choices, like what to wear or eat, or major life decisions such as choosing a career or navigating relationships, each decision plays a role in sculpting our future. But how often do we actually stop, reflect, and ensure that our choices are wise, deliberate, and aligned with our values? In today's world, we are often bombarded with information and pressured into quick decisions. Yet, the Stoic philosophers of ancient times taught us a timeless lesson. There is immense power in the space between stimulus and response. It's in this space that we find our true freedom, our ability to choose wisely, and our capacity for growth. Before we dive into these valuable lessons, take a moment to pause and reflect. If you find this exploration helpful, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might benefit from these insights. Feel free to drop your thoughts or questions in the comments as we embark on this journey together. Every decision we make has a ripple effect, so let's explore how we can harness this power effectively and intentionally. Chapter 1. The Power of Pause, Creating Space for Growth. In today's fast-paced society, pausing may feel like a luxury we can't afford. The constant demands of our phones, social media, and work culture push us toward immediate reactions. However, as Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. This is not just a philosophical musing, but a practical tool we can all use daily. Pausing before reacting is a deceptively simple but incredibly powerful tool. By doing so, we give ourselves the opportunity to engage with our thoughts and emotions in a more reflective way, rather than being driven purely by impulse or habit. The pause allows us to separate the immediate stimulus, such as someone's words or an unexpected event, from our automatic emotional reaction. This space is where wisdom and freedom reside. It's in that small gap that you can ask yourself, what is the best way to respond? One of the most effective ways to implement this pause in everyday life is through the 5-second rule. When you feel an immediate urge to respond, especially in situations that stir emotions like anger, frustration, or fear, simply count backward from 5. This short countdown gives your mind a moment to catch up with your emotions, creating a buffer between your initial reaction and your more thoughtful response. For example, imagine receiving a message that upsets you. Instead of firing off a heated reply, count down from 5. In that brief moment, you might realize that your first instinct isn't necessarily the best course of action. You'll likely find yourself able to respond more calmly and thoughtfully, leading to better outcomes in your relationships and decisions. Another useful technique, especially for more significant decisions, is the 24-hour rule. This method involves delaying your decision for a full day to give yourself the time to think things through. It's particularly helpful for major life choices, such as deciding on a job offer, making a large purchase, or resolving a conflict. The delay allows emotions to settle and clearer, more logical thinking to emerge. What seemed urgent in the heat of the moment often feels less pressing with a little distance. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By pausing for 24 hours before making a decision, you give yourself the opportunity to choose a response that aligns with your long-term goals rather than short-term emotions. Pausing doesn't just apply to big decisions. It can be practiced in the small, everyday moments that shape our lives. Whether it's choosing how to respond to a snarky comment or deciding whether to make a quick, impulsive purchase, the power of pause gives you control over your actions. Imagine how different your life could be if, before every decision, you took just a few seconds to think, Is this the right choice for me? How will this decision impact my future? Chapter 2. Perspective shifting, seeing the bigger picture. Sometimes, the key to making a wise decision isn't just pausing, it's changing how you see the situation altogether. We often get caught up in the details of our immediate experiences, which can cloud our judgment and limit our ability to see the full picture. Stoic philosophy offers several techniques to help us shift our perspective and view situations from a broader, more detached vantage point. One of the most powerful perspective-shifting techniques is the view from above. This involves imagining yourself looking at your life from a high vantage point, almost as if you were observing it from space. From this distant perspective, the small details that seem so overwhelming in the moment often shrink in importance. You begin to see your life as part of a larger whole, and your current problems as just one chapter in a much bigger story. This broader view can bring a sense of calm and clarity. For example, imagine you're feeling incredibly stressed about an upcoming project at work. In the moment, it might feel like the end of the world if things don't go perfectly. But if you step back and imagine looking at the situation from above, from the perspective of your whole life, you'll likely realize that this project, while important, is just one small piece of a much larger puzzle. In a year or two, will this moment matter as much as it feels right now? Seneca once said, "Time heals what reason cannot." When you zoom out, you gain clarity, allowing you to make better, more thoughtful decisions. Another effective technique is role reversal, which involves seeing the situation through someone else's eyes. We often get stuck in our own perspective, which limits our ability to think creatively and empathetically. By imagining how someone else, perhaps a mentor, friend, or even a stranger, would view your dilemma, you can uncover new solutions or approaches that weren't apparent before. Let's say you're facing a tough decision, like whether to confront a friend about something that's been bothering you. From your current perspective, the situation might feel fraught with tension, and you may worry about how the conversation will go. But if you imagine how a neutral third party might view the situation, or how you would advise a friend in your shoes, the decision may become clearer. Sometimes, stepping outside yourself is all it takes to see a new way forward. As Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. By practicing role reversal, you gain a deeper understanding of both yourself and the situation at hand. Chapter 3. Emotional management, staying calm in the storm. Emotions play a powerful role in our decision-making process. When we're angry, anxious, or overwhelmed, our ability to think clearly and make wise choices is compromised. This is why learning to manage your emotions is crucial for making sound decisions. Stoic philosophy offers several techniques to help you stay calm and centered, even in the midst of emotional turbulence. The first technique is naming the emotion. This might sound simple, but the act of identifying and labeling the emotion you're feeling can significantly reduce its power over you. When you're upset, take a moment to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Is it anger, frustration, sadness, or fear? By naming the emotion, you create a psychological distance between yourself and the feeling, allowing you to step back and respond more rationally. For instance, imagine you've just had a disagreement with a colleague. You feel a surge of anger rising within you, and your first instinct is to snap back with a harsh comment. Instead of acting on that impulse, pause and say to yourself, "I'm feeling angry right now." This simple act of acknowledgement can help you regain control over your emotions, preventing you from saying or doing something you might later regret. The next technique is known as the Stoic pause. This involves taking a deep breath before responding to any situation. Whether you're about to respond to an email that frustrates you or engage in a heated conversation, The Stoic pause gives you a moment to let your rational mind catch up with your emotional reactions. In just a few seconds, you can prevent yourself from making a rash decision. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By practicing the Stoic pause, you empower yourself to act with reason rather than being driven by emotion. Chapter 4. Rational Analysis: Balancing Emotion with Logic. While emotions are a key part of decision-making, it's equally important to balance them with rational analysis. When you face a difficult choice, taking the time to evaluate your options logically can lead to better outcomes. The ancient Stoics understood the value of reason in decision-making, and they developed techniques to help individuals weigh their options with clarity. One classic method is the pros and cons list. This simple but effective tool helps you visualize the benefits and drawbacks of each option in a given decision. When you're unsure about what to do, write down the positive and negative aspects of each choice. Seeing everything laid out in front of you can make it easier to see which option truly aligns with your goals and values. Let's say you're deciding whether to take on a new project at work. You're excited about the opportunity, but you're also worried about the added workload. By writing out a pros and cons list, you can see the potential rewards alongside the risks, helping you make a more informed decision. Aristotle once said, "The more you know, the more you realize you don't know." A pros and cons list helps bridge that gap by clarifying your understanding of the decision. Another valuable tool is the worst-case scenario technique. This involves considering the worst possible outcome of your decision and how you would handle it. By imagining the worst-case scenario, you reduce the fear of the unknown and can better prepare for potential challenges. For example, if you're thinking about moving to a new city, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? How would I cope with it? This exercise helps you put your fears in perspective, allowing you to approach the decision with more confidence. Chapter 5. Aligning Decisions with Values: Staying True to Yourself. At the core of wise decision-making is the need to align your choices with your core values and principles. When you make decisions that reflect your true self, you create a sense of inner harmony and avoid the internal conflict that can arise from acting against your beliefs. Stoic philosophers emphasize the importance of living in alignment with one's values as a pathway to both personal integrity and peace. One powerful technique to ensure alignment with your values is the integrity check. Before making a decision, ask yourself, does this choice align with my personal values and principles? If the decision conflicts with your core beliefs, it's a sign that it might not be the right path for you. This practice helps you avoid making choices that you'll later regret, as they don't resonate with who you truly are. For example, imagine you're considering taking a job offer that promises financial rewards but requires you to work in an industry that doesn't align with your values. The integrity check would help you pause and reflect on whether the decision aligns with your long-term goals and ethical standards. If the decision doesn't sit well with your values, it's likely not the right one for you. Another helpful method is the "Would I respect myself?" test. Before making a decision, consider whether you would be proud of your choice if it were to become public knowledge. This test encourages you to act with integrity and self-respect. Imagine you're facing a choice that could benefit you personally, but might involve cutting corners or compromising your values. Ask yourself, if others knew about this decision, would I still respect myself? This perspective helps you stay true to your principles and avoid choices that could damage your self-esteem. Chapter 6. Seeking Counsel: The Wisdom of Others. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom doesn't exist in isolation. The greatest thinkers, including Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, constantly sought the advice and insights of others. Consulting people we trust not only expands our perspective, but also helps us avoid pitfalls that we might not see ourselves. Seeking counsel isn't a sign of weakness, but rather an acknowledgement that we can benefit from the experience and viewpoints of others. One technique that works well is the mentor's advice. A mentor is someone who has walked the path before you and can offer guidance from their own experience. Whether you're making a career decision, dealing with personal issues, or weighing a major life choice, a mentor can provide a clarity that's difficult to achieve on your own. If you're struggling to decide between 2 job offers or considering moving to a new city, talk to someone who has made similar decisions. Their insights can help you see angles you hadn't considered, and their experience can be invaluable in guiding your decision. Mentors aren't always formal. Sometimes they can be a trusted friend, family member, or colleague. The key is to seek the counsel of someone whose values and judgment you respect. As Socrates famously said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." When we seek advice, we tap into the collective wisdom of those around us, and we become more aware of our own blind spots. Another approach is the 2 heads are better than one technique. This method involves gathering input from several trusted individuals before making a significant decision. While a mentor offers a singular viewpoint, gathering advice from multiple people can provide a well-rounded perspective. Each person might see the situation from a different angle, offering insights that the others may have missed. For example, if you're thinking about investing in a new business venture, talking to multiple experts in different areas, finance, operations, marketing, can help you make a more informed decision. Don't limit yourself to one source of advice. Often, our friends and family members can see things in us or our decisions that we can't see ourselves. They might highlight potential risks or opportunities that weren't initially obvious. As the philosopher Lao Tzu said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Seeking counsel ensures that your first step is a wise and well-considered one, guided not only by your own judgment, but by the collective wisdom of those around you. Chapter 7. Reflecting on past decisions, learning from experience. One of the most valuable tools for improving your decision-making process is reflection. Looking back on past decisions allows you to evaluate what worked, what didn't, and why. This process transforms experience into wisdom and can dramatically improve the quality of your future choices. A particularly useful technique for reflection is the post-mortem analysis. After you've made a decision and seen its outcome, take the time to review the process. Ask yourself, what went well? What didn't go as expected? What can I learn from this experience? This kind of analysis helps you understand your decision-making patterns and allows you to avoid repeating mistakes in the future. For example, let's say you decided to take on a new project at work, but it didn't turn out as successfully as you had hoped. Instead of simply moving on, conduct a post-mortem analysis. What factors led to the project's failure? Was it a lack of planning, insufficient resources, or perhaps miscommunication with your team? By identifying the root causes of the outcome, you can adjust your approach next time, improving the likelihood of success. As philosopher John Dewey said, "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience." Merely going through life's ups and downs doesn't automatically make us wiser. It's the process of thoughtful reflection that enables us to grow and make better decisions in the future. Another reflective method is future self-reflection. This technique involves imagining yourself several years into the future and looking back on the decision you're about to make. How will you feel about this choice in 5 or 10 years? Will it align with your long-term goals and values? Before making a significant decision, consider how your future self will view it. Will you be proud of the decision, or will you regret it? This exercise encourages long-term thinking, helping you make choices that are consistent with your broader life goals rather than just short-term desires. It also serves as a powerful reminder that the decisions we make today will shape the person we become tomorrow. Chapter 8. Avoiding cognitive biases. Overcoming distortions in thinking. Even with the best intentions, our decisions can be influenced by cognitive biases, systematic patterns of deviation from rationality and judgment. These biases can distort our thinking, leading us to make decisions based on faulty reasoning or limited information. To make wiser decisions, it's essential to recognize these biases and actively work to counteract them. One common bias is confirmation bias, which causes us to seek out information that supports our existing beliefs while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This can lead to skewed decision-making because we aren't seeing the full picture. To combat confirmation bias, actively seek out opposing viewpoints. For example, if you're trying to decide whether to buy a new phone, don't just read positive reviews. Look for negative feedback as well to get a more balanced view of the product. Albert Einstein once said, "The measure of intelligence is the ability to change." Recognizing and challenging your biases allows you to make more informed and objective decisions, leading to better outcomes in the long run. Another technique to counter bias is the pre-mortem. This involves imagining that your decision has already failed and working backward to identify the potential reasons why. This helps you foresee possible pitfalls and develop strategies to avoid them. For example, if you're considering starting a new business, conduct a pre-mortem by imagining that the business has failed. What went wrong? Was it poor planning, financial mismanagement, or a lack of market demand? By identifying these potential issues ahead of time, you can address them before they become real problems. Finally, there's the blind spot technique. Blind spots are areas where our perception is limited or distorted. To identify these blind spots, seek feedback from others who might see things you don't. When making a major decision, whether it's negotiating a contract or planning a big event, ask for input from people with different perspectives. Their insights can reveal risks or opportunities that you may have overlooked. Socrates wisely said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." By examining your decisions carefully and seeking feedback from others, you make sure your choices are well-rounded and thoughtful, leading to better outcomes and personal growth. Chapter 9. Embracing uncertainty. Thriving in the unknown life is full of uncertainty, and no matter how much we plan or prepare, we can't predict every outcome. However, instead of fearing uncertainty, Stoic philosophy teaches us to embrace it. By learning to navigate the unknown, we can make more confident and effective decisions. A great way to start embracing uncertainty is through the what-if game. This technique involves asking yourself a series of what-if questions to explore various scenarios and their potential outcomes. By considering different possibilities, you can prepare yourself for whatever comes your way. For example, if you're thinking about starting a new hobby or job, ask yourself, what if it succeeds? What if it fails? What if it leads to an unexpected opportunity? By playing out these scenarios in your mind, you become more adaptable and resilient, ready to handle both the positive and negative outcomes. As Charles Darwin observed, "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." Being prepared for uncertainty makes you more flexible and better equipped to navigate life's challenges. Another valuable tool is the best, worst, most likely analysis. This technique involves considering the best possible, worst possible, and most likely outcomes of any decision. By weighing these scenarios, you balance optimism with realism, which can help reduce anxiety and give you a clearer sense of what to expect. For instance, if you're deciding whether to move to a new city, you might consider the best-case scenario. You thrive in the new environment and make new friends. The worst-case scenario, you struggle to adapt and feel isolated. And the most likely outcome, you experience both challenges and rewards. This balanced view helps you prepare for various outcomes and make a more informed choice. Finally, the decision tree approach is a highly structured method for managing uncertainty. A decision tree involves creating a visual map of your decision with branches representing different choices and their potential outcomes. This method allows you to see the long-term consequences of each option and make more systematic decisions. If you're deciding whether to pursue a new project, draw a decision tree with different branches for each option. This helps you weigh the pros and cons more clearly, reducing uncertainty and enhancing your confidence in the final choice. As Heraclitus wisely noted, change is the only constant in life. By embracing uncertainty and using structured methods like the what-if game, the best, worst, most likely analysis, and the decision tree approach, you can navigate the unknown with greater clarity and confidence. Conclusion: mastering the art of wise decisions. Mastering the art of decision-making is a lifelong journey. It's not something that happens overnight, but rather a process of continuous learning, introspection, and growth. Throughout this guide, we've explored various techniques to help you make wiser, more thoughtful decisions, techniques that draw on the wisdom of ancient Stoic philosophy while remaining relevant to our modern lives. From creating space through the power of pause to shifting perspectives, managing emotions, seeking counsel, reflecting on past decisions, avoiding cognitive biases, and embracing uncertainty, these strategies are designed to empower you to make decisions that align with your values and lead to better outcomes. Now, it's time to put these principles into action. Start small. Perhaps begin by using the 5-second rule when you feel the urge to react impulsively, or create a pros and cons list for your next big decision. Over time, as you apply these techniques consistently, you'll find that your decision-making process becomes more intentional, thoughtful, and aligned with your long-term goals. As Winston Churchill wisely said, "To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often." Embrace the process of decision-making as an ongoing journey of growth and refinement. Each choice is an opportunity to learn, grow, and move closer to the person you want to become. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the art of decision-making. I hope you found these methods valuable and that they empower you to approach your choices with greater confidence and clarity. Remember, every decision you make is a building block toward the life you aspire to create. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit from these insights. Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments. I'd love to hear how these techniques are working for you. Good luck on your journey toward wiser, more thoughtful decision-making.